Hello and welcome to a unique little episode of the MadebyJo Crafty podcast. I am Jo, I'm a knitter, sewer and crocheter based in Fife in Scotland, and this is my little space on the internet to usually record a knitting podcast and talk to you about what I have been working on. This strange little 15-minute episode is what I'm calling episode 8.5, and it's an opportunity for me to share with you a project that I have been having a little think about. I have decided that I am going to run a small make-along that will culminate in the Willigood Gathering on the 26th and 27th of April this year. I myself will be attending. I took part in the Kickstarter for the event, and I thought what a wonderful opportunity to do a make-along with other like-minded knitters that might be attending. Even if you aren't attending Willigood Gathering, you are more than welcome to take part in the make-along. It will be lovely to keep up with what you're working on. And this make-along is going to be predominantly held on Instagram. The make-along itself is going to be called the Scottish Spring Make-along, or hashtag Scottish Spring MAL if you want to follow along. And it is an opportunity for you to knit on any project that you would like using a yarn from a Scottish dyer or a Scottish small business. And that could be a vendor at the Willigood Gathering or any other Scottish yarn dyer that you prefer. It's an opportunity for us to share and celebrate our Scottish industry, but also celebrate the wonderful springtime in Scotland. I decided to go with Scottish Spring Mal because it, as you probably can imagine, encompasses every type of garment or accessory that you could possibly think of. We are fortunate in Scotland to get a vast variety in weather in the spring months, so you could knit anything from a hat and gloves to a vest or a t-shirt. And today I'm going to show you some of the Scottish yarns that I am hoping to work with, and also some of the projects that I think I might be casting on in the not too distant future, if I'm to borrow that term from one of our other favourite Scottish podcasters. So I guess I'm just going to start by saying that the Mal will be predominantly held on Instagram. There is going to be an Instagram group, should you want to be added to it, in which we can share photos, talk about progress, and just be a little bit social with each other. The Willigood Gathering really aims, or looks like it's aiming to be, an incredibly social event, not solely focused on the marketplace, which some yarn festivals seem to be. It is an opportunity to socialise with knitters that potentially live nearby to you, and to enjoy other people's company, and that's really encompassed in the Neighbourhood section of the festival, which really is a place to come together, have some food and knit and work on projects with people at the same time. There is a child shouting outside, so I apologise if you can hear that. But I really wanted to capitalise on that and encourage people to come together and work on similar things. So if you want to work on a project, one of the same patterns that I'm working on, that would be wonderful. If you want to work on something completely different, absolutely grand. And it would be lovely to see some of you at the Willigood Gathering, if you are attending, to take some photos of our garments or just to talk about what we've been working on. It would be lovely to see and hear from you, and I will be there, I think, both days, probably less so on the Friday because I'm working, so Friday evening and mainly on the Saturday. Okay, so without further ado, I'm just going to show you I'm hoping to cast on for the Scottish Spring Mal. And the first one is also by a Scottish designer, the Creabea Rebecca Clow. I'm going to be knitting one of her Tolsta tees. I was a tester for the Tolsta tee pattern last year and I absolutely love it. I wore it almost every day of the spring and summer, and I decided I needed another one in my wardrobe. So the Scottish dyer that I'm going to be celebrating is Bow Fiddle Yarns, and this yarn is very aptly called Spring Blossom. So it's a gorgeous pink, green and sort of a beigey white cream colour variegated yarn, and I'm going to be knitting a toasta tee in this. This is their fingering weight, so it will be a fingering weight toasta tee, which is not something I've done before, so I'm looking forward to see how that goes, and also learning some new techniques because I'm going to be alternating these skeins to try and avoid colour pooling. This will be a merino t-shirt, but to be honest I'm not too worried about it. Scottish spring can still be very chilly, and if it means I can wear this on its own or just with a cardigan instead of a big coat, then I will be happy. So my first sort of entry to the Scottish Spring Mall will be a toasta tee by Rebecca Clove. The second garment that I am going to be attempting to knit actually ticks off one of my make 9. So if you'd watched my previous podcast episode, I hinted at this, but it's also been on my Instagram recently. I was looking at knitting a Monday sweater by Petite Knit, and I've actually decided that that's no longer on my plans, but I have replaced that with a sort of modified jumper to get something that I think will be really wonderful. So I am going to be knitting the Gingerbread Sweater. I'll pop a picture of it on the screen, but I'm going to be modifying it to look similar to a sweater pattern that I have in A Knitter's Year, a book that I received for Christmas. So the Gingerbread Sweater is a free pattern available on Ravelry. And it's absolutely lovely. One of the people I follow on Instagram, Knit with Jo, she has also knit this jumper and she was raving about it, so I feel quite confident looking at the pattern. And I'm also going to be modifying it to look a little bit like this Amelie sweater, so let me try and show you. The Amelie sweater has a split side with a small knitted bar in between the two, and this is done with steeking, and I didn't really want to steek both the sides and the armhole, so that's why I'm not following this pattern, but I'm going to be modifying the Gingerbread Sweater so that it has this side detail here, which I think will make it perfect for the springtime. So it's a fingering weight jumper pattern, and the yarn that I'm going to be using is by another Scottish dyer, Bobble and Badger. So this is the colour Peppermint Pig, and it's their merino silk 4-ply yarn. I bought it at the Scottish Yarn Festival last year, and I have 3 lovely skeins of it. So I'm going to be alternating these two to again hopefully get the best colour payoff. But I was going to use this for my Monday sweater, but I didn't really want to have to add a mohair. I think sometimes doing that can make the jumper more autumn-winter suitable, but in order to help make this spring, I wanted to try and avoid using a mohair or fluff. So this is the colour I've chosen. The third project idea I have is another Rebecca Clove pattern, and it's actually one that or similar to one I'm working on at the moment that I brought with me. So I am currently knitting on the Daft Days cardigan. This is my Daft Days cardigan as it stands at the moment. And as I was knitting this, I was thinking about shawls and what type of shawl I would like to knit. And I could not get the Daft Days shawl out of my head, regardless of how many shawl patterns I looked at on Ravelry. And one of the things that really drew me to working on this is actually the back side, the wrong side of this Daft Days cardigan, because I think the stitch pattern is so lovely. And I think that means you're getting sort of a multi-way shawl. You can either have it wrong side out or right side out. So I've decided, or I'm aiming to knit on the Daft Days shawl by Rebecca Clove. And the 2 or 3 Scottish yarns that I've got at the moment to work on, one is by Zakami, and Zakami are the organisers of, or one of the organisers should I say, of the Willigood Gathering, so they will be in attendance, so you can shop their yarn while you're there. And this is their 75% merino, 25% silk, in this gorgeous like outdoorsy colourway. There's browns and blues and some gorgeous green tones in there, and this yarn was what really inspired me to cast on the shawl, or to think about casting on the shawl. Both this yarn and this Nervous Fibres skein, because these are both individual skeins that I didn't really know what to do with, but I think they would look really nice in a shawl, alternating in a Daft Days shawl. So this Nervous Fibres colourway is in the colour Nimbus, and Nervous Fibres are a Scottish dyer based in Glasgow. She's actually on maternity leave just now, so she's not attending the Willigood Gathering, but I would really recommend her yarns. I've used them several times. It's her yarn I'm using for the Daft Days cardigan, and I would really recommend. And I think these two colours will look really nice alternating. And then I have been considering what to use for a main colour because I wasn't quite sure, but I've decided which yarn, just not which colourway, and I've got an example of it here. I'm going to be using the Kinross 4-ply, which is by Wee County Yarns, which is a small business in Kinross in Scotland, and they do a wide variety of different colours. So this is just one that I have in stash to show you it, but it's not the colour I'm going to choose because I'm not sure it's quite what I'm looking for. But they do have a variety of different colours, and I'll pop some on the screen here of the ones that I'm thinking about choosing to use as the main colour for these yarns. So these are the 3 yarns that I have popped together at the moment, and I'm thinking about casting these on for a Daft Days shawl. So that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. It's a t-shirt, a jumper and a shawl. Now the Willigood Gathering is 9 weeks away this Friday, which isn't probably enough time to get all 3 things done. However, I am going to I'm going to start with my Tolsta and then move on to my Gingerbread Sweater modification, and then try and work on the Daft Days shawl. So I might not get all of them done, but that's the intention. But it would be lovely to knit alongside some of you guys who are attending Willigood or not, and I'd love to keep an eye on some of the stuff that you're making as part of the Scottish Spring Make-Along. So please do use the hashtag on Instagram and follow the hashtag on Instagram, and if you want to be part of the Make-Along group, then please send me a message on Instagram as well and I will get you added. So if you send me a message, my name and handle on Instagram is @designs.madebyjo. If you send me a message on there, I will put you in the group and we can all keep an eye on each other and keep up with each other. And there may even be an opportunity to do a sort of virtual knit night all together while we work on our Scottish Spring Mal project. So once again, thank you so much for listening to my weird short half episode just where I wanted to launch the Scottish Spring Mal. If you are thinking about taking part, please leave a comment down below. If you think someone else you know might love to take part, please feel free to share this video with them. I'd love to hear from you over on Instagram. If you want to take part, send a message. If you just want to catch up, send a message and I would love to chat to you. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on today, and I look forward to seeing what you're all working on. Speak to you very soon. Bye.